faced the Supersonics. Did they face the Jazz twice?
Twice. Yeah.
97, 98.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, 98, they took... Jazz played better in 98 than did 97.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think they beat them in the regular season too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe if I heard right, I think they had swept them in the regular season in '98. The Jazz swept the Bulls. But to piggyback off of Milton from episode 8, so what I got from that was, yes, he came back wearing number 45. He haven't played basketball so much that they even show that he was wearing his shorts backwards.
Oh, yeah.
I would have never noticed that. I would think the fucking shorts look the same. In that same episode, Milton said he did bring number 23 back. Horace Grant was feeling himself because he had Shaq and Penny. He was still number 3 in that team. No matter what team he went to, he was number 3.
Well, yeah, he was number 4. They had Nick Anderson.
Oh, there you go, number 4. So they were just put him on their shoulder because they were trying to show Jordan, like, yo, we did it with one of your guys. You know what I'm saying? And who they end up losing to in the finals? Orlando?
Houston.
The Rockets. Okay.
That's crazy because...
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say what you guys just said, like Nick Anderson, Penny, and all. That was actually a pretty solid squad for that time, man.
Yeah, no.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was a good squad. They were just young, but they were a good squad.
Yeah.
A fucking young Shaq. Well, I think Penny Hardaway was like second season in the league. And Nick Anderson with the fucking 3-pointers, because I remember those games. Then you got Horace Grant with the blue goggles.
They probably had the point guard that was pretty good too, J.J. Nelson.
Shit, I remember Nelson.
Yeah.
So, I have a question. So, with this episode, is really with the Orlando Magic, they're the last team to stop MJ from making to the finals. And then after that, he wins his three-peat again, and then he retires. So I had who was the toughest team to stop Michael Jordan from getting to the finals in his career? Was it the Bucks? Go ahead.
Do you really consider that a stop? Because he just came back mid-season.
Yeah.
And
it's fine.
And no, like I see where Milton's going, but he's like nowhere ready for basketball, and he still took the team to the playoffs to meet the Orlando stacked Magic. And I think they went, if I'm not wrong, did they lose in 6 games?
I think so.
6, right? So you're telling me Jordan and his Bulls were still able to win 2 games, right? Will we look at him different if he would have beat that Orlando Magic team? Like, right now he's considered the greatest, whatever. This documentary put a stamp saying, stop the LeBron, the Kobe comparison. Like, that's it, we know. You think this would have put Jordan in another level? Like, yo, this motherfucker could come half season and still wax us.
I'm glad he didn't win, actually, because I don't know if they would have beaten the Rockets, because even in that episode, they were talking about how, since he wasn't in shape, right, like you were saying, like he was like kind of slowing down because he just wasn't working out as a basketball player. He was working out as a baseball player. So they showed like that's probably part of the reason why they didn't win, was that he just wasn't up to that level. So if he would have gone past the Orlando Magic, he would have most certainly like lost in the finals, I think. And then that would have been thing that they always bring up. That's the thing they always bring up, right, about Michael Jordan. He's never lost in the finals. And the thing about LeBron they always bring up is that he's lost 4 out of the 7 times or some shit.
Yeah.
So what was your question, Mil? You were gonna say.
Yeah. So who do you think was the toughest team to stop Michael Jordan to getting to the finals. So the 4 that stopped him in his career, this includes when he was a rookie and everything, were the Bucks, the Orlando Magic, the Bad Boy Pistons, and the Larry Bird Celtics. Who do you think was the toughest team? Like, as far as, like, yeah.
I say the
I
Celtics.
think the Pistons, because they stopped him twice.
The Pistons?
I think so. The Bad Boys.
Yeah, Bad Boys.
I see
what about you, Lee?
I see the Celtics, but they were at the end of their peak. So they were, I mean, with Robert Parrish, McHale, Larry Bird, but they were at the end of their peak, and Jordan was at the start. So yeah, you probably have to say the Pistons, but I would say the Celtics were a better team. But the Pistons, when it comes to records and the facts, I would say the Pistons.
So since I don't know anything about the Bucks of that time, because supposedly they had a rivalry between the Bucks and Chicago back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So think of them in their prime. The people are in Orlando, Pistons, and Celtics. What was the better team in their prime?
I say the Celtics.
The Celtics? Okay.
And they're like, but we're bringing like young Larry Bird.
Yeah, like think of a year that they were like, champions or whatever. Think of the Orlando Magic when they went to the finals. That was probably their peak. Which one was a better team?
I'll have to agree with you, Let Ali. Yeah, I think the Celtics at their prime will beat any of those. They'll beat the Pistons. They'll beat the Milwaukee Bucks. You were saying, and the Orlando Magic. Like in a 5-game series, I could see the Celtics coming out of there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Celtics.
Al, you're probably getting the call because I can't pick up. So the delivery call.
Why you call?
No.
What delivery?
The Salami Sister delivery call. I can't pick up, so you're probably getting the text. Let me see. So I had some questions, but they're all over the place. And this question is mostly for you. It's for you, Milton. You grew up in Jersey, right? Were you ever a Nets fan?
Maybe at some point I followed them, especially when Jason Kidd was on the team and they went to the finals, I think twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, at one point I thought there was another young team that had a really good squad because they had like Keith Van Horn, Kerry Kittles, Jason
Kenyon Martin,
Gill,
too.
Kenyon Martin, Sam Cassell. They had a tough squad, and I remember them facing the Bulls being like, yeah, they're going to get their ass rocked. But there was still like that hope that since they were younger and they had a good squad, they could beat them. But, yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering, so I guess you started watching basketball around that time, and then later on you got into the Celtics, right?
Yeah, I got into the Celtics like around 2002, something around that time.
Right.
When Pierce was there.
You ever go to the Izod Center to watch the Nets?
Huh?
You ever went to the Izod Center to watch the Nets play?
I think I actually went to. Was it the Izod Center? I forgot where. Because they played in before they went to Brooklyn. Where were they playing? Like somewhere in Newark?
No, they were playing.
That was after.
That was before they went to Brooklyn. They were playing some games at the Prudential. But before that, they used to play at the Izod right next to MetLife.
Yeah, I think I've been to that one.
That's where they used to do the wrestling events in the Izod Center.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question, and this probably goes back to episode 7. And I know we touched on this. Do you think MJ retired due to the gambling issues?
Do you think what?
Do you think he retired due to the gambling, or you think it was solely because of his father's death?
Yeah, I believe what he said. Like he said that he was he had planned to do it before that happened, and that I think he told somebody that the only reason why he was still playing basketball because he wanted to win the three-peat because that was something that Magic and Larry never did, right? So he said once he won that was it. He wanted to get out of the basketball. So I don't think it had to do with his gambling.
And you, Al? Yeah, I think I was on the phone. So
What about you?
I think, yeah. I think what he said. I think it's due to his father, but it was just so weird, because even if he did baseball, his father was still not around to see it. So it was just a weird pivot. So I could see.
I'm back.
So I could see like maybe that he was gonna get a suspension, and maybe all that stuff happened all at once, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna leave." But I wonder, and I don't know, Al, if you have this timeline from the time he retired until the time that he said, "I'm gonna go play baseball." Like, how long was that?
Yeah, so he retired ending of 93 season. So I'm guessing that's mid-June, because that's when normally the playoffs finish, right?
Yeah.
Mid-June or early July. Baseball, it's already already started. So baseball's already, they start in April, it's July. So that's probably like what? Almost 80 games in, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't start baseball until 94. So that means he waited till the next season. So he was in baseball. He retired in 93. Didn't start baseball till maybe April of 94. And then he didn't go back to basketball till 95, right?
Yeah, maybe 96, because he did 96, 97, 98, right? It was
95 he lost.
Yeah, you're
he
right.
Didn't make it to the playoffs.
It was a 94-95 season?
So 96, 97, 98 is when they won the three-peater, yes.
Okay.
So he went back mid-95, which was crazy because a year and a half away from basketball, he still was able to play the way he played for half the season. You know what I'm saying? If he would have made up his mind and came up in the beginning of the season, I think they would have won a championship that year. If he would have done early returning. Now, before I got off the call, I didn't know what you guys were talking about.
No, that was the question. That was the question. The other question I have is, because of the whole coronavirus stuff going on, do you think as many people will be invested into this docuseries? Like if life was regular, that people, it could be a Sunday night, they could be drinking, or they could be, do you think more people will be invested? I mean, plus we got no sports now. Do you think more people are invested now because of the what we're dealing with at the moment?
So I say, because this was being promoted to come out early July. It was not to be out now the way we got it. But I still think if we were coronavirus free, we were still like regular life, I think in July this documentary would have been as good as if we saw it now. Yes, we're missing sports, and this brings us back to like 90s basketball. And it's not only 90s basketball, it's the music that is included in this. We're not even talking about the music that was part of this documentary, because the way the hits they were putting, it brings me back to that era. You know what I'm saying? So it's perfect and not perfect, because the youngsters that did not ever see Michael Jordan play, and they only could YouTube him if they wanted to, got to get a glimpse of behind the scene of what Jordan is and was. So to answer Lee's question, either now or in July, this documentary would have been what it is. For me, one of the best sports documentaries I think I've ever seen in my life. I have not seen another documentary the way this one was put out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got like a nostalgic feeling from watching it, and I think it's related to being like locked inside and there is no sports. Like just looking at back in the 90s, how it was, because every time now with the coronavirus, when I see something